Hello children, today we will learn the first chapter of geography, that is resource and development. In this session you will learn about resources and their classification, utilization and conservation of resources, how resource planning is done in India, land resource, soil formation and its type, land degradation, soil erosion, and methods to control erosion and degradation. Before we begin, let us first understand what is a resource. In our daily life, we use a variety of products. Have you wondered from where do we get these products? These materials that we use ensure our survival and satisfy our needs. We human beings interact with the physical environment. Through technology, we create institutions to accelerate their economic development. So we can say that everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable, can be termed as a resource. We can classify resources as natural and human. Natural resources can further be classified as renewable and non-renewable. Renewable resources consist of everything which is continuous, that is wind, water, etc. They do not take time for regeneration. They are continuous in nature. And biological. Biological resources can further be classified as natural vegetation, that is forest and wildlife. We also call them flora and fauna. If we look at non-renewable resources, they can be classified as cyclable, that is metals, and non-cyclable, for example, the fossil fuels. Let us try to classify resources on different bases as well. If we consider on the basis of origin, resources can be classified as biotic resources and abiotic resources. All living things constitute biotic resources, for example, flora, fauna, etc. Abiotic resources consist of all non-living things such as wind, water, rocks, etc. On the basis of exhaustibility, resources are classified as renewable and non-renewable resources. Those resources which can be renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical or mechanical process are renewable resources. For example, water that is renewed through the process of hydrological cycle. Many resources are replenishable. That means they can be recycled within the environment, like oxygen. Even rock is a renewable resource, but the process of formation of rocks is very, very slow. Non-renewable resources like fossil fuel are limited in supply and it takes millions of years for them to be formed. Metals like gold, silver, copper and iron are recyclable. On the basis of ownership of resources, we can classify resources as individual, community, national and international. Resources which are owned by an individual, for example, the house that you own, your car, are all individual resources. Community resources are those resources which belong to a community. National resources belong to a nation. The country has legal powers to acquire private property for the benefit of public at large. International resources are found beyond the territorial boundaries of a country. These resources are managed by international institutes. No single country can use these resources without the permission of international authorities. For example, minerals, fisheries, etc. It is worth considering that the national resources of a country extend beyond its land boundary. It also extends to the territorial waters, that is, ocean water, up to 12 nautical miles from the coast of the country. On the basis of stage of development of resources, we can classify resources as developed resource, potential resource, reserves, and stocks. Those resources where the quality, quantity, and the location has been mapped appropriately, and these resources are utilized at the optimum level with the use of available technology. Potential resources are those resources which are found in a place, a region, but have not been utilized because of lack of technology. They can definitely be used in future. For example, solar and wind energy are example of potential resource. Rajasthan and Gujarat have great potential for the development of these two resources. Reserves are those resources which can be put into use with the help of existing technology, but their use has not been started. They can be used in future. For example, our rivers can be used for generating electricity. Though we have started building the dams, but the rivers have not been utilized to their fullest. Similarly, the example of biodiesel also comes under reserves. All of you must be knowing what is a biodiesel. One of the vegetation, that is Jatropha, is used to produce biodiesel. Next is stock. Reserves which have the potential to satisfy the human needs, but we don't have the technology to access it. Example, water can be used as a good fuel after separating hydrogen from it. It is still under the process of development. When the appropriate technology will be devised, stocks can also be used. Resources are free gift of nature and are very, very important for human being. But overutilization of resources has led to various problems in the society. This has led to depletion. This has led to accumulation of resource only in few hands, and certain ecological and environmental crisis has resulted due to unsystematic use of resources. That is why the need has come to conserve our resources. Gandhiji once said that there is enough for everybody's need, but not for everybody's greed. He thought that exploitative nature of modern technology is the root cause for depletion at global level. He believed in the production by masses and not in mass production. That is why we have to move towards sustainable development. Development that takes place without damaging the environment and without compromising the needs of future generation is called sustainable development. In this regard, more than 100 heads of states met in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil for the first time. It was called the International Earth Summit. This was organized to address the urgent problem of environmental protection and socio-economic development. They signed on a declaration to combat global climatic change and to preserve biological diversity. It also endorsed Global Forest Principle and adopted Agenda 21, which aims at achieving global sustainable development to combat environmental damage, poverty, and disease through global cooperation on common interest, mutual needs, and shared responsibilities. One major objective of Agenda 21 is that every local government should draw its own local Agenda 21. One step towards this is planning of the resources, which is a step towards judicious use of resource. If we see the example of India, resources are unevenly distributed in the country. Many states are rich in mineral and deficient in other resources. For example, Jharkhand is rich in mineral resources, but there is a problem of drinking water and other facilities. Arunachal Pradesh, on the other hand, has plenty of water but lacks development because of lack of various other resources. This disparity can be reduced or completely eradicated with proper planning and judicious use of resources. In order to get the maximum output, a good resource planning is must, keeping in mind the technology, skill, and the institutions. Since independence, the Indian government has recognized this and has introduced the 5-year plans, which has played a very, very vital role in planning and development of resources. Some important aspect of resource planning in India includes identification of resources across the country, proper planning, structure with proper technology, skill and institution, and matching the resource development plan with the overall development plan of the country. Land resource is one of the most important natural resources that we have. It supports our life system with basic necessities. Land is not even everywhere. If we see, India comprises of many types of landforms, that is mountains, plains and plateaus. 43% of our land constitutes the plains, 27% of our land constitutes the plateaus, and 30% is mountains. All these landforms play a very, very significant role, as plain provides facility for agriculture, building, industries and houses. Mountains, they give us various perennial rivers which are used for irrigation and also for drinking water. Plateau is rich in mineral, fossil fuels and forests. Land utilization comes under various categories: forest, land not available for cultivation, other uncultivated land, fallow land, net zone area. Now we have to remember, fallow land is further classified as current fallow and other than current fallow. Current fallow land is fallow for 1 or less than 1 agricultural year, and other than current fallow year is left uncultivated for more than 5 agricultural years. Children, can you tell me why the farmers leave the land fallow for some years? Any guesses? Let me tell you. The land is generally left fallow in order to retain or regain back its fertility. Net zone area, which is sown at least once in a year, and gross cropped area is the area which is sown more than once in an agricultural year. It also includes the net zone area. India has a variety of uses of land. A chunk of it is devoted to the net zone area, that is, it is under agricultural use. If we compare the data of 1960-61 with that of 2014-15, we see that the net zone area has declined slightly from 46.26% to 45.5%. Another significant change, which is a very, very positive change, is the increase of the area under forest, which is 23.3%. The total area of India, as you all know, is 3.28 million square kilometers. According to the Indian government, at least 33% of the area should be under forest. However, we have still not achieved that proportion, that ratio. We still need to increase at least 10% of our area and convert them into forest. If you see the area under permanent pasture, which was 4.71 in the year 1960-61, has declined to 3.3% in the year 2014-15. Now this change is not so welcoming. Can you guess why? India has a very huge cattle population. If permanent pasture declines, then it will be very difficult to sustain this ever increasing cattle population. Let me tell you one more thing. India is also a country where dairy production is increasing day by day. So if we will not be able to support our cattle population, then this development will deaccelerate. The factors that affect the pattern of land use are physical and human. Physical factors include climate, topography, type of soil, etc. And the human factors include population size and density, technology, skill, tradition, etc. The pattern of net zone area in India varies from state to state. There are certain states like Punjab and Haryana where 80% of the area is devoted to agriculture. However, only 10% in the state of Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, etc. According to the National Forest Policy, the forest should be 33%, but still at present it is 23%. It needs to be increased. The continuous use of land over a long period without taking measures to conserve and manage has led to land degradation and led to various environmental problems. It is limited, land is limited, but the demand is every day increasing, and in past few decades the quality of land is degrading fiercely because of human activity. Irrational consumption and overutilization has led to various socio-economic and environmental problems. Certain causes for land degradation are deforestation, overgrazing, urbanization, industrialization, dumping of chemical waste into river waters and land, excessive use of fertilizers, and bad farming techniques. Approximately 28% of land belongs to forest degraded area. 56% is water eroded area. Rest degraded land is because of over deposition of salinity and alkalinity. Overgrazing, mining, deforestation has led to division of land in small area are also causes of land degradation. In states of Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Orissa, Madhya Pradesh, along with mining, deforestation has degraded the land very fast. Overgrazing is the major cause of land degradation in Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. In Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, over-irrigation causes shortage and increase in salinity and alkalinity due to waterlogging. In Bihar, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, land is degraded because of floods. We can control land degradation by certain methods. These are constructing retention wall in the mountainous area to stop landslides, land reclamation, regulated use of chemical fertilizer, afforestation, a check on overgrazing has to be there, control of mining activities, proper irrigation, proper treatment before discharging industrial waste and effluent, and by preventing deforestation. Soil, which is the topmost layer of land. There are various factors which affect the soil formation. Relief, parent rock, climate, the time, and the microorganisms which are present in the land. The soil has basically four profiles. The topmost is called the topsoil, which is rich in humus and minerals. Following it is the subsoil. It lies below the topsoil, consists of weathered rock, silt, clay, and some nutrients. Then the weathered rock, and finally the bedrock, which consists of solid layer of unweathered rock. The soils can be classified as alluvial soil, black soil, red and yellow soil, laterite soil, arid soil, and forest soil. The classification of this soil is based on the physical and chemical properties of the soil. As you can see, the most abundant soil in India is the alluvial soil, which stretches throughout in the northern plains up till Assam and also in a narrow corridor which includes parts of Gujarat and Rajasthan. Alluvial soil is also found in the deltas of the eastern coast, Mahanadi, Krishna, Kaveri and Godavari. It is the most fertile and the most abundant soil in India. Red and yellow soil, black soil, forest and mountain soil are the other important soils. If you see the northwestern part of India, it has the arid soil. Alluvial soil, which is the most important and the most widespread soil in the country, is formed by the deposition of sediments brought down by the rivers. It contains fine particles of sand, silt and clay, which is called the alluvium. Alluvial soil is of two types: new alluvium, that is called the khadar, and the old alluvium, that is called the bangar. It has appropriate proportion of potash, phosphoric acid and lime, ideal for the growth of sugarcane, paddy. The areas of alluvial soil are intensively cultivated and are densely populated. The next important soil is black soil, which is also called regger or the black cotton soil, as cotton is produced in this soil. It is formed from the weathering of the igneous rock. This soil is mostly found in the Deccan Trap region, which includes parts of Maharashtra, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. It is also found in some parts of Godavari and Krishna river valleys. This soil has high concentration of fine particles and thus can hold moisture for a long time. It contains calcium carbonate, potassium, magnesium and lime. This soil is poor in phosphoric content. Children, as you can see, there are cracks which have developed in the black soil. Can you see these cracks? When the soil is totally dry, it develops such cracks. This helps in the aeration and therefore it is also known as self-tilled soil. Red and yellow soil is derived from the weathering of the igneous and metamorphic rocks. It is found in areas of low rainfall. The red color is acquired due to the high percentage of iron content. Found in Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Ganga Plains and Western Ghats. Next is the laterite soil, which has been derived from a Latin word called lata, which means brick. It is widely spread where there is high temperature and high rainfall. High rainfall leads to leaching, which kills the microorganisms and carries the nutrients of the soil under the subsoil. Found in Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh and hilly regions of Odisha. It is not a very fertile soil and is generally used for cultivation after proper manuring and irrigation. It supports plantation crops like tea, coffee, rubber, coconut, etc. Forest soil is generally found on the hill slopes covered with forest, found in Himalayan region, Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. The soil is loamy and silty in texture and contains coarse-grained particles in the upper slope. It is very rich in humus but lacks potash, phosphorus and lime. However, it is suitable for the production of plantation crops such as tea and coffee. Arid soil is found in the arid regions where the rainfall is less than 50 centimeters annually. The color ranges from red to brown. It is sandy and saline, lacks humus and moisture. The lower layer of the soil is occupied by kankar, which is small stones, because of increasing calcium content downwards. Found in Rajasthan and adjoining areas of Haryana and Punjab. Soil erosion has become one of the most important concern of modern times. The denudation of soil cover and the subsequent washing down is described as soil erosion. Sometimes the running water cuts through the clay soil, making deep channels known as gullies. These gullies, over a period of time, become very large and are called ravines. The land becomes unfit for cultivation and is known as bad land. You can see certain ravines which are found in the Chambal Valley of India. Soil erosion is the degradation of soil by human activities. Deforestation, overgrazing, construction, overuse of chemical fertilizers and pesticides, and natural calamities like flood and landslides result in the degradation of soil. We need to conserve soil. That is, we need to protect, preserve, and properly utilize this resource. That can be done through mulching, that is, keeping some straws or any crop which helps to retain the soil moisture. Contour plowing, that is, plowing along the contour line, can decrease the flow of water down the slopes. Terrace cultivation, which is carried out in the hilly areas. Strip cropping, where strips of grass are grown between the crops. This breaks the force of the wind. Shelter belts, this where if wind erosion is happening, it can be controlled. And yes, afforestation, crop rotation, control over deforestation and overgrazing also helps in the conservation of soil. As you can see, these pictures tell you about the soil conservation methods. Now, this is making terrace in the mountainous region. Here, as you can see, trees are grown in between the cultivated crop, which results in saving the soil from wind erosion. This is an example of contour plowing. You can see that the farmers have plowed or the field in a contour shape. Windbreakers. This also helps in preventing the soil from wind erosion. Few more examples of soil conservation techniques. This is contour plowing, making of terraces in the hilly region. This is no-till farming, or as we have learnt earlier, mulching, and this is an example of cover crop. With this, we end the discussion for this chapter. The assignment for this tutorial will be uploaded in SAS app. Kindly mail back the assignment as directed in the worksheet. Thank you.